Good evening, everyone. Well, today we are circling back to my amplifier reviews. The last review that I had was of the Griffin Mephisto, if you remember correctly. I had given the Mephisto a 97 out of 100, which is up until that point the highest grade that I have given an amplifier. Today we're going to concentrate on the Boulder 2150 Monoblocks. And as you guys know, I have several categories that I have been using for my reviews. The 2150 was that one amplifier that I will dearly miss. It was one spectacular machine in every regard you can think of. I am going to say to you that yes, with an MSRP of approximately $112,000, it has been by far one of the most pleasant amplifiers to listen to. By far, I mean, it really has given me a tremendous amount of joy, satisfaction, just simply really an overwhelming amount of just happiness. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. But anyway, let's just get into it. Let me give you guys my take on the Boulder 2150 Monos. All right, first category, camp. Which camp is this amplifier? It's under the neutral dynamic camp. Okay, just to remind you all, I have two different camps, sweet and smooth, and also neutral and dynamic. The Boulder 2150 is a neutral dynamic amplifier. When it comes to resolution, I will say the Boulder easily earns a 10 out of 10. This amplifier had a tremendous amount of resolution. I don't think I have, so far actually, looking at my grades right now, my ratings of different amplifiers, Boulder is the only one to earn a 10. When it comes to resolution, I have never met an amplifier that gives you the level of detail, information retrieval, nuance that the Boulder 2150 had. I have not met that amplifier. It remains the king of resolution in my opinion. And as you guys know, I have owned quite a few amplifiers in my past. Boulder is simply at the top. I don't care to hear any other amplifier from my past. I don't believe any amplifier that I've owned in the past will come close to the Boulder 2150 in terms of resolution. Bass control, I gave that amplifier a 10 out of 10, just like I did with the Griffin Mephisto. They both earn a 10 out of 10. Clarity, easily a 10, no question about it. Just like the Griffin Mephisto, it earns a 10 in my book, simply because it was just so pure sounding. It never sounded fuzzy. It never sounded veiled. It never gave me a feeling that there was a curtain between me and the speakers. That amplifier was always like a window. Okay. The next category is slam and dynamics. Without a doubt, that amplifier again earns a 10. The Mephisto also earned a 10 in this category. Both amplifiers, in my opinion, had slam and dynamics and speed in spades. I mean, they really had a level of thrust, power, punch, this feeling that you never ran out of gas, right? It just, you gave it everything you've had, regardless of the song, whatever amount of bass you needed, whatever amount of fullness and impact you needed, it gave it to you. It just was completely relentless. Okay. The next category is soundstage, width and depth. Again, easily a 10 out of 10. I felt that amplifier had everything top to bottom in terms of soundstage. It also pulled off a very interesting act, which was the fact that if you played a recording that was poorly recorded, you felt as if your speakers went from being floor standers to bookshelf speakers. I mean, really, you really had you could just, it was incredible to say the least. I mean, you felt how much the soundstage was shrinking from for, through each of your recordings. As you change songs, the soundstage came in different sizes. That was just incredible for me, and also depth. It was a very, very big feeling. It's like a tunnel between the speakers. You felt a lot of depth. You felt like there were layers of information, multiple layers of information behind the speakers. And it was just, I really do not know, guys, if it was just the fact that it's 1,000 watts of power, Class A power, that was just simply astonishing, and it just made every speaker, or any speaker, in this case, I think, this case being the Alex speakers, Wilson Audio Alex, there was so many dimensions. It was unbelievable. In the next category, speed. I gave this amplifier a 10 out of 10, easily. Lots of speed. Again, thrust. It really went 0 to 60 miles an hour in under 3 seconds. I mean, it was just incredible what that amplifier had. Never felt it sluggish. I actually felt as if when I changed amplifiers, and I know these are some of the things that happen behind the scene, guys, behind the scenes here in my room. You guys don't get to see this, but when I was playing around with the amplifier, and I basically changed amplifiers, right, to a different brand. Sometimes I felt that the speed wasn't the same. Other amplifiers felt slow in comparison, and you really don't have a sense for that unless you have other amplifiers in your room to compare it to. That really is the best way to understand what the Boulder 2150 does with regards to speed. Next category, again, detail. Goes hand in hand with resolution. Lots of detail. Every ounce of detail your gear you are really craving, it will hand it to you. There is nothing lost. If it's not in the song, you're not going to hear it. I can tell you this amplifier felt like the floor noise was so low that it also gave you so much detail and information that oftentimes is just very hard to pick up using other amplifiers. I know Boulder works very hard on their on the power section of their amplifiers. They work extremely hard with noise suppression. This amplifier, as a matter of fact, it did respond to the cables that I used here, aftermarket cables, which are the transparent Opus Generation 5. It did respond quite well. It changed the presentation. It changed the feeling of the presentation. But I'm going to tell you guys, I feel like if you're looking for resolution and detail, stick to the power cords, to the stock power cords. There's no reason for you to spend $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 like I did. Quite frankly, guys, save your money. This is what I'm here for. This is why I'm building this channel. Put the money away. Spend it somewhere else. Spend it in, using other devices. I don't know, a better, use that money to put footers somewhere, right? Buy footers for your DAC, or, a better cable and another component for your amplifier. It's not worth it, guys. It's not worth it. Don't spend that money. Okay. The next category is aesthetics and construction. I personally found them beautiful, and I gave it a 10. I found that the aesthetics and construction was top notch. It felt like a brick. It literally is a boulder. I mean, it literally is a boulder. It is heavy. It's a brick. It's just bulletproof. There's nothing about it that does not scream quality. It's built to the highest standards. Everything about that amplifier, you never felt that there was a single thing that was cheap about it. Okay, so when it comes to construction and even the aesthetics, again, it is no Dan Agostino momentum. We understand that, but I found them very pleasant to the eyes. You feel like when you pay this kind of money, right, you feel that the real estate is there. When you look at it, when you touch it, you feel that you got your money's worth. And that's one thing I can definitely tell you about Boulder amplifiers. You certainly feel like you got your money's worth. I mean, when you touch it, it's just this feeling that other amplifiers don't even come close to. The next category is value for the money. I gave this amplifier an 8 out of 10. I felt that it clearly doesn't earn a 10 out of 10 because it is a lot of money, guys. Okay, so I'm not going to say this is a great value. It is not a great value because for $110,000, right, it's hard to use another reference point because I can't think of many amplifiers that are $110,000, but it is quite a bit of money, guys. For a lot of you guys, for me even, is a lot. It's a lot of money. I can't call it a 10 out of 10. I wish it was cheaper, but the reality is I have to think about, how much money it takes to bring an amplifier like this home with you, and $110,000 is quite a bit of money. So I gave it an 8 for value. My personal grade, Jay's personal grade for this amplifier, I am going to give it a 10 out of 10. When I think about everything that this amplifier is about, when I think about the construction, when I think about the reputation of the company, the great people that work over at Boulder, the reliability, okay, this thing doesn't break for nothing. This thing is just, again, bulletproof. It's not expensive to repair when you need it repaired, if it ever breaks. I look at the entire company as a whole plus the product itself, and I personally feel that this amplifier for me earns a 10. That's my personal grade for this amplifier. Now, that said, when I look at the entire score sheet, every single category, what I have just mentioned, this amplifier comes in at 98 out of 100. This makes this amplifier the best power amplifier I've ever owned until today. Period. Now, something that might be interesting to some of you guys is that the Mephisto stereo came in at 97. And if you're wondering, or if your thought process is going to be, wow, Jay gave the Mephisto stereo 97 as an overall score, right? And he's given this Boulder that is twice the money only a 98, one more point. This is crazy, right? This is nuts. But remember, guys, I mentioned this to you. When you get to the big leagues, the big high ticket items, more money, like this Boulder is twice the money, the improvement is not proportionate to the amount of money you're spending on top. You're spending quite a bit of money for an additional 10% improvement, 8%, whatever that may be. So as long as you guys understand that, this is why I can only give this amplifier 1 point above the Mephisto. And maybe if I have the Mephisto monos in here, maybe it would be the same. Maybe I only rate him 1 point better than the stereo sibling. I don't know. So I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is do not fall prey. Don't be prey of this belief that if you have something that's 50,000 and you spend something that's 100, it should be twice as good. Guys, that's not the truth. It will never be the truth, especially with audio. Okay, it will never be the truth. It's not proportionate to what you're spending. Okay, so the more up the ladder you are when it comes to your system, the bigger the financial investment you will have to make to improve very little. Remember that. So you have to decide it. You have to decide what you want to do. Do you want to keep spending huge money and just your dividends be very little? Or do you feel like, you know what, I'm at a point where I'm good and I'm not going to spend another 100 grand or whatever the case may be to get another 5%. It's just stupid, right? You have to make that decision. So that aside, again, I'll go back and say I give this amplifier a 98 out of 100, and it makes it the number one amplifier that I have ever owned in my entire life. Boulder 2150. You heard it here at Jay's Audio Lab. Stay tuned for more, guys. We got a lot more things coming, and I think you guys are going to be very, very excited to hear the setups that I auditioned at Suncoast Audio, plus my journey continues with the magical M6. Stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys.